In today's video, I want to break down the 5 trades that I took today that made me over $2,000. 4 winners, 1 loser, and every trade had a structured plan. I want to walk through the structured plan that I had on every trade that I took today. What was my profit target? Where was my stop loss? What was the idea behind the trade? Give you guys those details that run through my head before I take every trade, so hopefully watching a video like this will help you make structured plans before you make trades as well. So overall, just a trade recap video, but a lot of detail in this one, going over the plan on every trade. I do have some live trades to share with you at the end of the video if you stick around until then. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and start here on the 30-minute chart on the S&P 500 futures. The first trade that I took today were some SPY puts. Now, coming into today, I had the idea of looking for a 40-20 rejection on the S&P 500 futures or a 398 rejection on the SPY ETF. Now, why did I have this idea? Why did I come into the day looking for this potential trade setup? So if we look over here on the S&P 500 futures, the first thing that you're going to look at are my demand and supply zones. I always have these ready to go when I enter a trading day. I need to know where were the previous rejections and where could the market potentially reject again, and where do I need to be careful of getting into upside? Where can I look for potential downside? Same thing on the flip side. I need to know where that demand is. I need to make sure I'm not shorting into demand. I need to make sure I'm looking too long off those levels if the market comes back to it. So I have to make sure to have these levels before I enter every day. You guys know we do this every morning in the pre-market live stream if that's something you're interested in. So here on the S&P 500 futures, I was targeting this 40-20 level. Now, why was I looking at this level? If we go out to the 30-minute chart and we get the last few weeks of price action, we can clearly see here in the past, we have had 40-20 rejections multiple times. So we had one right here. This is back on the 22nd, 23rd of February. We had another rejection here. This is on the 27th of February. We had a rejection here. This is on the 7th of March. And we had another major rejection here back on the 9th of March. Now today, in the pre-market, we were trading up to that 40-20 level. So I know as we open the market, I need to watch out for 40-20. I need to know that if the market rejects there, I could potentially look for downside, and I can't be looking to trade upside into that supply. I can't be the guy that is buying calls into a multi-month rejection point. I can't be the guy that's trying to chase upside. I need to understand my supply. I need to understand that that is a potential rejection point, and that is where I could potentially play puts off of. So if we go over now to the SPY ETF, you can see that these levels line up very similar. We have this 398, 399 level where we had these previous rejections here, rejection here, same time frame, rejection here, and then you can see we are trading back at that level this morning. So I knew, hey, there's a 398 major supply here on the SPY. There's that 40-20 rejection level on the ES. I want to look if I can play some SPY puts near the open off this level and see if I could scalp some downside. So now we're zoomed in here on the 5-minute chart. This is today's price action, and I actually watched this SPY trade on the 5-minute. I like to sometimes zoom out, look at some longer time frames at the open so I don't get chopped up in that morning action. We typically have some choppy action near open, and it's a good time for traders to make irrational decisions, take entries, take exits, get all chopped up on some shorter time frames. So today I was sort of saying, let's monitor the 5-minute, let's wait for the real move, let's wait for the market to really pick a direction, and let's see if we can play this 398 rejection point. So you guys can see here on the 5-minute chart, we got a big push in the morning up to 398. We can't go long, right? We're still under 398. You cannot go long into supply. So no entries there. We got a rejection here around 398, and this is where I started to get into my SPY puts, and I added again on the push to the upside. So you can see we had this 398 rejection here. We got a push back into it. We had a little bit of a candle above, but I waited for that 5-minute close. I wanted to see if that 5-minute would close back below, and surely it did, right? So a major rejection on that 5-minute candle at that 398 level. So here on TradeZella, this is the day trades that I took today. I did have a swing trade which yielded me about $1,000. These are the day trades that I took, about a $2,000 day, 3.13 profit factor, 80% win rate. I did have a loser, which we will review today. A little bit larger than I would have liked. Percentage loss was just about where I'm usually comfortable at, but I did scale into this one, so I did take a nice little loss there, about a 7% loss. So if we go to my first trade, I'm going to consider SPY my first trade. This was a little bit of a mess around trade, just getting my feet wet. Not really an important trade. Small winner, 2.8%, $143. Here was my first major trade of the day, making $1,800, about a 41% return on these SPY puts. So if we get into it and we look at where I started to enter this trade, you guys can see, I'll zoom out and we can look at the chart. You can see that on that first 398 area rejection, I started to enter those puts. You can see we did get a move against me temporarily, but like I said earlier on that 5-minute chart, I was waiting for a candle to close above 398. I wasn't going to get faked out of this position off some little action in the morning. I was very confident in that 40-20 supply and that 398 supply that we previously talked about. So I got in with 40 contracts, about a 41% return, $1,800. Those were my entries right there. And you can see as we were getting to move, I was scaling out of these contracts. So we started to get that rejection. I scaled out here at 1023 and I scaled out once again here at 1026. So overall, I would say that the success of this SPY put here came down to conviction, came down to knowing my plan, came down to having that pre-market plan mapped out, knowing that I'm looking for a 40-20 supply rejection and knowing that I'm looking for that same rejection on the SPY around 398. It did work against me temporarily, but I wanted to see that 5-minute candle close above my 398 supply to take me out of the trade. We never got that. I didn't panic in the drawdown. I was comfortable with the size that I was risking, and that's really what it comes down to. Being comfortable in the trades you take, understanding the plan so that as the market trades, you don't have to make decisions. As I was in this trade and as the market was pushing above my 398, I wasn't making decisions. I wasn't worried, right? I knew what my idea was. I knew the plan. If I saw a 5-minute candle close above, I would be out. I would take my loss. That never happened. I don't micromanage my positions. I let it work out. And you can see this was a nice little scalp off a textbook supply rejection early morning here on the SPY and the S&P 500 futures. Now I'm going to skip to my NVIDIA trade because this trade was probably the cleanest trade of the day. And I want to make sure that you guys see this one. I know a lot of people click off the video. They don't watch the whole video. So we're going to jump right into NVIDIA. Then we'll get into Tesla and then we'll get into my Microsoft loss. So if we jump over here to NVIDIA, I'm going to go ahead and click on TradeZella here. On this trade, I made about $565, had about 20 contracts, made about a 7% return, 594 gross P&L, and this was textbook break and retest. This was the bread and butter strategy. This is what I look for on a daily basis, and this one was very clean. You can see I entered here as we were getting towards that retest rejection around 260, and I started to scale out as I typically do, right? Get a quick move in my favor, scale out some profits, scale out some profits, and scale out some more profits. Obviously, you can see it says 7% return. These contracts down here were up over 30-40%. I scale out early, right? I take my profits early. This keeps me profitable. I don't care that if I held my whole position, this trade would have been a $2,000, $3,000 trade. That does not matter to me. What matters to me is staying profitable, and scaling out early and letting runners ride is what keeps me profitable. Of course, NVIDIA could have continued lower. Of course, NVIDIA could have rallied against me. But if I scale out early with a significant amount of my size, I'm locking in that cash. I'm locking it in. And if there's more downside, I'll take advantage of it. So yes, this does say 7%, which is a little bit of a smaller percentage gain, but really the gain on the contracts was up over 40%. I just scale out as I get the win. So now let's go ahead and jump into the overall analysis behind the trade, understanding why I took this position. And I do have this trade recorded live for you guys to see at the end of this video. So over the last 3 trading days, it is very clear that $260 was a key level on NVIDIA. We had rejections all back here on Friday at 260. We had rejections yesterday on Monday at 260. This morning, we held that 260 and we turned it into support. Now, intraday today, when we started to get that downside, we flushed back under 260. So this is where the break and retest comes in. We broke back below a key level, which was 260. If we push back into that level, if we retest that 260 level after breaking it, I want to see if I can play a break and retest rejection. So if I zoom in here on the 2-minute chart, you guys can see this is today's price action, and we held 260 this morning. We tried to hold it here, and right here around this 10:50, 11 o'clock time, we broke it and we retested it. A break and a retest. And when I saw that retest start to come in, that is where I started to take my entry. So right here, back on TradeZella, taking my entries around this 11.17, 11.11 time frame, giving it about a 50-cent stop. So you guys can see 11.11, which is around here, 11.17, which is around here, giving it about 50 cents up to that candle high, which is about a 50-cent risk. This candle right here is the confirmation candle. This 2-minute candle right there is a fantastic confirmation candle. I love when I see that. You can see that we pushed higher, back over 260 on the 2-minute, pulled back, had a rejection wick, back under 260, and at that point, I was very confident. That is the main reason I added once again right here on this 11.17 candle. I knew I had my risk reward set up. I knew if we got back above this candle high, I would be out of that trade, taking my risk, right? Understanding my risk, understanding the plan, understanding everything about the trade. Break and retest. I know my stop loss, and I'm looking for that bear flag breakdown, right? You can see right here, little bear flag was forming into the retest of 260. Beautiful flush to the downside, and from there, it's just a matter of taking your money, right? From there, it's a matter of doing the right thing, scaling out of positions as you get it. This was an incredible flush to the downside, pretty much a straight down move, taking profits along the way. And I would say that the success, once again, of this trade is due to understanding the plan, understanding the strategy, knowing the break and retest, knowing where my risk is, knowing that this 260 level is crucial. And if we're turning that level back into a resistance, the stock should reject off of it. It should have a reaction to the downside if we're turning that 260 level back into a rejection point. So the third trade we're going to go over here is Tesla. Tesla was 11% gain. It was a $445 win. This was the third trade of the day, and we can go ahead and check this one out. So 10 contracts, $13 in commissions, 11% gain, $459. You can see my target risk was about $500. My initial target was $1,100, but as you guys know, I scale out of my positions. So it's very difficult to get that full initial target if I'm scaling out as I get my move. So if I zoom out here, you can see that I pretty much top tick Tesla today. Tesla, obviously the better trade was to the upside because that thing ran all day. But I got in here at 192.50 on some puts, and I scaled the downside back into 190. Now, let me show you why I took puts at 192.50. So here on the hourly chart on Tesla, we can see that this 192.50, 193 level was pretty major. You can see we had previous demand in this level, previous demand in this level, previous rejections here, and previous rejections here. So I knew that if we push up into that level and we start to see some resistance, I want to try to take that supply rejection. At the same time of this Tesla trade, we were also getting the S&P 500 breaking under that 40.20 level. So we had that morning push above 40.20. We had that break back below 40.20, and that is about the same time that I took my Tesla trade. So if we go to the 5-minute chart here on the ES, you can see that around this time, this is right around 10:10, 10:15 this morning, we broke back below 40.20 and we started to get a flush to the downside. Now you can see my entry point on Tesla was right around 10:03. I was anticipating that move back below 40.20. I saw the S&P 500. If I go back to the ES, I saw that the S&P was starting to reject around this 10 o'clock time. I knew that, hey, if the S&P 500 is rejecting and Tesla is at a major supply, I could try to play that momentum to the downside on the market with Tesla at major supply, S&P 500 rejecting. Let me see if I can play that downside move, knowing that if the S&P 500 is rejecting and breaking back under, I should see a reaction on Tesla. So here's the intraday price action on Tesla. This is the 2-minute chart. You can see we got that rejection candle right around that 10 o'clock time. This is where I was entering my position, and my profit target was back to these wick highs. I knew that Tesla could potentially hold this 190 level. This was the previous high from the morning, and this really was the best break and retest long entry of the day, right? Where I got out of my puts, which is back here at 190, was actually the best break and retest long entry for Tesla, right? So I was a little bit on the wrong side of Tesla today. I did like that supply rejection, and that's why I was willing to take it. But really, the good trade of the day was waiting for this retest, waiting for us to hold that previous high, going long off this level and looking for that upside. You can see from that point, it was pretty much a straight up move on Tesla. But anyway, that was a really nice supply rejection, 192.50, 193, coupled with the S&P 500 rejection point up at that 40.20, looking for that supply, making about $445, about 11% return. All right, so likely the trade that everyone's waiting for, the $945 loss on Microsoft, about a 7% loss. This shows you that I was a little bit oversized in this position, right? 7%, that's a pretty comfortable loss for me. I don't mind that percentage. My account is also growing through the last few months, knowing that I've had some consistent months. I was okay getting a little aggressive on this one. 7% loss, not going to kill me. It is a little bit more than I'd like to lose, $945. Not something I'd love to lose, but when we look at the statistics of the trade, I'm not that upset about losing 7% here. I did take a pretty big position size, and that's what leads to the larger nominal value. So if we go into the Microsoft trade, you guys can see about a 7% loss, $945. And really, I just got a little bit too overzealous, maybe chased this one a little bit. You can see my mistakes here were over trade and also was oversized, I believe is what I put. If I can get this to pop up, you can see, yeah, chased and over traded, right? Didn't have to take this trade. Got a little bit chasey here. Maybe took too much size, took about 60 contracts here, so a little bit on the larger side, but I did have a reason behind the trade, so I'm not that upset about it, but I do have to understand why I took this loss, right? I have to know, hey, this is probably something I want to avoid in the future, taking a $900 loss. Let me understand what went wrong here. So if we go to Microsoft, I knew that under 270, there could be a lot of action to the downside. There was a very big drop-off under 270. If we go to the 15-minute chart, I was targeting the drop below 270 today. I knew that under 270, this could get really ugly on Microsoft, and I got to be honest, my eyes lit up a little bit, right? I got a little overzealous. I saw the 270 hold yesterday, from yesterday on Monday. I saw us starting to break 270 today, and I gained some confidence in it, right? So I was thinking, hey, if we can break 270, if we can hold below it, there's a nice little gap here to take advantage of. This could be a very nice trade. Let me go ahead and now go down to the 2-minute chart. So here's the 2-minute chart on Microsoft, and I have to be honest, this is overall just not a great trade entry. When I relook at this trade, which I do here with you guys, I'm relooking at this trade for the first time, right? I'm doing this live with you right now, and when I look at my entry point, it's really not that good. So you guys can see we got under 270. But we never had a structured hold below it. We never saw rejections of 270, right? You can see we sort of messed around at this level. We got below, we got above, we got back below, we held back above. We never saw this nice shelf build at 270, below 270. You guys can see that if we go over to the NVIDIA break and retest, which was my winning trade, we had a nice build below 270, right? We got below and we started to reject here. We had this rejection candle that really set that trade off. We never quite got that on Microsoft. If we go to that 270 level again, yes, we did get below it, but there was no structure to hold below it. So in this case, maybe a little bit too early of an entry. Again, chasing that entry a little bit. My eyes lighting up a little bit because of that 270 move below. Never getting the clean break and retest. And really, I just got stopped out of it. After seeing us not giving up that 270 and not holding below it, I had to jump out. Obviously, jumping out here was the right idea, because if I would have held and hoped and, just wished that it came down, this could have been a pretty ugly loss. So keeping that loss to a 7% trade, right? Losing that money, understanding that my trade was not working, getting out of the trade, wrapping up the day, taking my money and running. So guys, that's just about all that I have for you in today's video, recapping my entire trading day, every trade that I took, going into detail about my winners and my losers, understanding why I won, understanding why I lost. At the end of today's video, I'll include some live trades for you guys to see. I have the NVIDIA trade recorded live. I have the Tesla trade recorded live. You guys can watch how that all went down live. If you enjoyed today's video, press that like button. If you guys want to trade live with me every single morning in the Discord voice chat, that link is down below. Feel free to check it out, and make sure to come hang out in the pre-market live streams every morning starting at 8 a.m. Thank you guys again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace. Yeah, that's a decent looking bear flag into 260 with this NASDAQ supply rejection. Look at that AMD rejection. So we got 40.20 on the ES, looking for that to reject, lining that up with the NVIDIA 260 bear flag. If the ES can fall off of this 40.20, look at that AMD retest. Who took it? Who took the AMD retest? Oh man. That's just too clean already. Yeah, I'd be taking some profits already into that. Watch out for low a day. Market's still sort of holding that 40. We got to lose this 40.20. Wow, this NVIDIA trade's actually pretty nice. Come on, NVIDIA. Flush for us. AMD was sexy. 40.20. Come on. Come on, NVIDIA. Give it to me. Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is, folks. All right, I'm taking some off into that. That's a $500 trade right there. Nice little $500 to end the day. Nice. Half off, holding a little bit. All right, guys. What a day. What a day. Oh, it's an awesome day. There we go. Nice NVIDIA. Nice. Take some profits. Big 40.20 rejection. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that today. All right, I'm out a little bit more on NVIDIA there. I'm going to take a little Tesla put here. Stop over 193. Stop over that 193 supply. Seeing if I can fade this Tesla push. If 40.20 rejects here, guys, you might be able to play SPY puts. 40.20 is still holding, though, so we could be still early to this. I would be more comfortable on larger size if we actually reject 40.20. All right, I'm adding Tesla. I'm adding Tesla. That's too aggressive. I'm adding some Tesla there. All right, I'm going to take some off there. Up 20%. Why not? I think I'm going to take some off on Tesla here because I'm in SPY as well. So I got a lot of risk on the table right now. Let me just say that. So I'm going to start to take some profits here.